Welcome to this mindfulness meditation designed for building the character strength of self regulation. So, just before we begin, making sure that you're seated comfortably in a position where you're at ease, but at the same time where you're able to bring this attentiveness and dignity to the practice. And so, whenever you feel comfortable in the body, just gently closing your eyes or lowering your gaze. And to help us settle also in the mind, let us take 3 deep, mindful breaths as we begin this meditation. So, just taking that deep inhale, filling up the lungs as best as you can, and then the gentle, gradual exhale, and continuing to do so a couple of more times, bringing your awareness only to the breath and letting go of fixation to any thought or feeling. True to the spirit of this meditation about self regulation, just being aware only of the breath and regulating yourself, no matter how powerful a thought or emotion may be. And so now you just naturally come back to the normal rhythm of the breath. And noticing this natural inflow and outflow of every single breath. Being aware of only the breath, no matter what feeling comes up or what thought seems to drive you away. Exercising self regulation and coming back to the breath. The breath goes in and the breath goes out. So, continuing to do so for the next minute. It's being a pure observer to your breath and to every single breath. And now, when you're feeling comfortable, gently bringing to mind an image of a sun. It could be the way you've seen a sun during a sunset or a sunrise in one of your past trips, or it could purely be coming out of your imagination of seeing the sun in the background of a sky and clouds. And instead of shifting from one to the other image, just committing yourself to one image of the sun as you imagine it in your mind's eye. And now, as you imagine this sun, begin by noticing some of the details of how the sun is placed in the sky in this imagination. Are you imagining a sunny day or a cloudy day? Can you see the sun completely, noticing its periphery? And what is the color of the sun that you see? Is it bright yellow or is it orange or somewhere in between? And also, as you notice the sun, do you see it to be completely clear on the surface? Or do you see any spots or any shades of yellow or orange? And finally, noticing the color of the sky in the background of which lies the sun. So, is the color blue or is it white or orange or maybe many different colors? Just whatever it is that you're imagining. And now, when you feel ready, just letting go of this image of the sun, and for a few moments coming back to the breath. So, just letting go of any thoughts and emotions that may have gotten conjured up, and being present only to noticing every single breath. And even if your mind wants to wander off back to the sun, just ensuring that you bring in this attitude of self regulation to being present only with the breath. And now, when you feel comfortable, bringing to mind an unpleasant occurrence or an unpleasant event that's happened in your life in the recent past, just making sure it shouldn't be very unpleasant. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is very, very mildly unpleasant and 10 is very high, picking something like a 2. And just reflecting on this event that's happened in your life in the recent past. recalling what is the cause of the unpleasantness. Is it a miscommunication, a failed expectation, or something that you couldn't achieve? Or maybe something that you did wrong and you regret it. Just bringing to mind this unpleasant event or occurrence and noticing the cause of this unpleasantness that arises. And as you do this, just noticing what that unpleasantness made you feel like. Did it make you feel guilty or frustrated or angry? Or maybe it's a mixed emotion having multiple components, so just reflecting on that. Noticing your inner world of the thoughts and emotions you carry as you recall this unpleasant event. And now gradually start to let go of thinking and feeling about this unpleasant occurrence and coming back to your breath. So, exercising self regulation, letting go of fixations towards a thought and emotion, and coming back to noticing this process of breathing with every single breath. The breath comes in and the breath goes out. Trying your best to be present only with the breath and not thinking about the thoughts or emotions of any sorts. And now, when you feel a little more settled, bringing to mind one of the most pleasant events that happened in your life, just recalling and remembering and picking on any one extremely pleasant event in your life. And if there are multiple such events that come to mind, pick any one and commit yourself to it. And now, as best as you can, imagine yourself being there again, in the middle of that pleasantness. It could be a pleasant communication or a pleasant meeting. It could be an achievement or hearing the news of something exciting. Or it could even be something very simple, some joy with the family. Just trying your best to remember and recall the details as you embody that moment again, remembering who all were there around you when that happened. What were the circumstances and environment like? And also, if possible, recalling how you felt then and how you feel now as you remember that pleasant event of your life. And maybe as you do this, you can have a small smile on your face. And now, when you're comfortable, letting go of this event too, and coming back to noticing the breath again. So, irrespective of how strong a thought or emotion may be, self regulating yourself to coming back to observing only and only the breath. Every single breath. As the breath comes in and the breath goes out. And if your mind wanders to any of the events or occurrences that we discussed today, just keep regulating yourself to come back to the breath. Being disciplined and controlling where your mind is by keeping it only and only to observing the breath. Breath comes in and the breath goes out. Just keeping your mind only at the breath. And now, as we come to the close of this mindfulness practice, just remembering that whenever in life you want to build the character strength of self regulation, you can keep coming back to this practice. For this practice, when done with the right purpose and this attitude of continuous coming back to the purpose, has the potential to make us more regulated in our day to day lives. So, in a few moments now, a bell will ring, indicating the end of this practice, at which point you can start to gently open your eyes again and coming out of the practice.